I want to talk about the Big 12 and the SEC as it relates to football because Bob Bowlsby has been very bullish on not just playing college football, but getting all 12 games in. He told ESPN, we're still planning to play 12 games, and so is the SEC. Obviously, if one of us would make the decision to go conference only, that would affect the others. I'm guessing we would get some advance notice on that, but nobody has made that decision yet, at least among the ACC, the SEC, or the Big 12. He's saying he's guessing we would get some advance notice because Kevin Warren said, no, we're pulling the trigger and we don't need to tell anybody because we're an autonomous league and we're going Big 10 only. Pac-12 followed suit, mostly because Gavin Newsom, governor of California, was going to make it prohibitive and hard for them to do that. Washington has already announced that they're getting rid of high school football, pushing it back to March of 2021. Probably means that the Huskies going to have a hard time playing a little bit of ball. USC already lost that game with Alabama, and we think Alabama's trying to put together a game with Brigham Young, but we don't understand. Because Brigham Young has also lost 5 games on the schedule because they are a GDI. That is the independent version of the college footballs. Meanwhile, Notre Dame is getting to take advantage of its open marriage with the ACC as it is contractually obligated to play at least 6 of its games with ACC, right? So they're going to try to help them fill out that schedule as well. And we have North Carolina State President Randy Woodson saying, look, we intend to finalize a plan this Wednesday. I'm a good soldier. I'm excited to be a part of the ACC and follow through with whatever plan is approved on Wednesday because it ain't like the NC States of the world got any kind of clout in this thing. You got to go along with whatever we're going along with. And right now what we're going along with is if you make a lot of money from playing college football, you're going to try to, as we say in North Tulsa, get it in. All right. Now, there are other models that include fallbacks to playing fewer than 12 games, but Bob Bowlsby has made it very clear. No. We're trying to get this Big 12 SEC challenge on and popping because along with Oklahoma versus Tennessee, Lincoln Riley versus Jeremy Pruitt, a great Tennessee defense versus what we expect to be another outstanding high-octane Oklahoma offense, there is Ole Miss versus Baylor, Dave Aranda versus Lane Kiffin. Get to see John Rice Plumlee and Jerry and Ely. Get to see if Charlie Brewer can make it through an entire season without getting concussed and get kicked off the team. Not that he would get kicked off the team, probably put on a letter jacket and they would, root from the sidelines. Then you got to watch Jacob Zeno go do what Jacob Zeno does. Meanwhile, I want to see what Larry Fedora's offense actually looks like for the first time. But hey, let's still wait and see. Another one of those games that doesn't get enough pub, and for good reason, Vanderbilt sucks. Vanderbilt's supposed to play Kansas State. Kansas State has already had its own run-in with the COVID out in Manhattan. I'm not sure whether or not that game even gets to go on because perhaps they'll be in the same position that most of us are in, which is on pins and needles, but not in the good way, trying to figure out if the COVID is going to prevent us from playing college football because as we have seen with the Miami Marlins, it doesn't take a whole lot for half the team to test positive. Yes, half the team. 30 players on the roster, 14 total, including 2 coaches, test positive for the Miami Marlins. And you're trying to tell me that we're going to be able to pull off college football without a hitch with students on campus and with kids being kids. I'm stressing this point because I will continue to stress this point. And I also want to take this opportunity to do what many media members have done, especially in sports, have been like, are you crazy to think that we don't want sports to go on? Who does that serve? And yet and still, kind of like Dr. Deborah Gist here at Tulsa Public Schools, going and saying, hey, look, I think we should go 100% remote only to start. She gets a pushback to which she said to the question of, hey, I want to see the data on, who's going to get infected because if people are at home, they're going to get infected. Dr. Gist said, if you want me to put deaths into the model, I will do that for you. You just tell me how many deaths you want me to account for. To which Tulsa board member had the good sense not to answer that question. And that's where we are, right? Because we're having this discussion now in July, damn near August, about whether or not we should go the next quarter rolling the dice. I submit to you, there is no dice to roll when it's a life or death situation. But it's only a life or death situation for the poorest among us in the most part. And then you're looking at how this disproportionately affects so many different groups of people, among them black folks and minorities, And the others are elderly population and the folks that are just getting eligible for AARP. You know who coaches the kids that are just getting, black among them? Like 45% of all college football players? The dudes that are either just about to be eligible or are eligible for AARP. That means you 55 or older. I don't want Matt Brown going nowhere. I don't want Nick Saban going nowhere. I don't care that they are willing to roll the dice, because that's the nature of being an athlete at this particular juncture. Especially in baseball and football, where we teach you, hey, no harm, no foul, no blood, no foul, rub some dirt on it, kid, play through it. Because that's how they're going to try to treat this. I have not talked to a single kid that does not want to play football. I have not talked to a single coach that does not want to play football. I've only talked to a handful of coaches that are like, I don't particularly feel good about this because I'm in a catch-22 situation. I am doggone if I do, I'm doggone if I don't. I am lying to parents that I told I would take care of like they're my own children. To which they would say, hey, I'm sending my kid to school. To which you have to look your child in the eye and say, did I put you in harm's way? Knowing that there was something else I could do. That is where we are. People are being called onto the carpet on their principles and being forced to admit they have none or have given up on them because of the financial state of things. And doing this data analysis and this financial analysis and what we already know is going to suck, we're still going to push people to go through this for the next 4 months and see if they can come out the other side. I'm not here for the Darwinism part of this conversation. I don't believe that the survival of the fittest is the way that we need to do things. I think you survive because you are fit. I think we can make you fitter by also helping you make good decisions, especially if you are a child. Because I don't trust a child, or for that matter, an athlete that wants to do the one thing that defines their life, to step back and say, wait till next year. For once, why can't we just all be the Cubs?